family ministries in our diocese, and we are so honored for him to be with us and his family with us this morning. So hopefully you'll get to meet Catalina and little Charlie. They are here. And Greg is coming with us. You guys got here June 1st.
Yep.
Yeah, June 1st. And we threw him right into camp. There's no better way to get your feet wet, buddy. So he was over all of our wonderful camp ministries this summer, and many of you know that we have children and youth who attend from St. Margaret's, and I'm sure from St. Boniface, who go to camp. So we give thanks for that ministry. And I think we're ready. So
Thank you. Good morning, everyone.
Good morning.
Can I get an amen for how great it is to see all these young people here involved?
Amen.
It's great, isn't it? I love to see it. Thank you for letting me be here this morning. It is a real pleasure to be here with you all, and especially to share some of the great things that are happening in the diocese and things that are going to happen in the near future in the diocese with youth ministry, as well as offer you some opportunities to strengthen the youth ministry and young adult ministry and family ministry in your parishes. So thank you very much for letting me be here, and my family as well. I'd like to start by giving you a little bit of background. So my wife and Charlie, my wife and Charlie and I, Catalina and Charlie and I, moved down here, as Carla said, on June 1st. We moved down from Northern Virginia, outside of Washington, D.C. And before this position, I was working in education for 12 years total as a teacher and school administrator. Before that, I was a youth minister for about 7 years in an Episcopal church in Mobile, Alabama. And also I worked with the church in Western North Carolina and Chapel Hill, North Carolina as well. And so as a former teacher, forgive me if I speak to a crowd of people and I don't stop you for somebody getting up and interrupting me or throwing paper airplanes or calling something out. In fact, that would make me more comfortable if some of you could do that throughout the service today. So I'd like to start off by saying what the mission is of the work that we do in the diocese. And that is to strengthen the youth ministry, young adult ministry, family ministry in the congregations, as well as offer great programs in the diocese for young people that are fun, meaningful, and formative. That's the work that we all do together. The way that we do this, there are three main ways. And the first thing that we do is we try to work with youth leaders to make sure they are professionally developing all the time. So that includes full-time paid youth ministers, that includes part-time workers, volunteer workers, everybody. We want to make sure that they are equipped to be good leaders, that their own personal relationships with God are strong, and that we do whatever we can to network, work together, sometimes go away to conferences, sometimes read great books together to make sure that we're all great youth leaders. The second way we do this is we work together, young people, especially high school students, clergy, youth leaders in the diocese, to offer great diocesan events. And I'll speak briefly about the events that we currently offer and will offer in the future in just a few minutes. But there are some great things going on that I hope you all can be part of. And then thirdly, we work with the wider church. So we work with Province 4, which, if you didn't know, is our province, the southeastern chunk of the United States. And let me speak a little bit about, go ahead to the next slide, please. A little bit about the things that we do in Province 4 and the wider church. So Province 4 has different youth events each year. And actually, the one coming up at the end of November, in early December, will be here at Dayspring that we're hosting. And that's a great opportunity for us to get together. Each diocese sends 2 young people and 2 adults. And we do a lot of fun stuff. We do a lot of prayer. We hear great speakers. We learn from each other. And we plan for greater events in the future. Also, in the national church, there's an Episcopal youth event every 3 years. It's similar to General Convention, and just occurred last summer in Oklahoma City. We sent a great team of young people and adults to the EYE in Oklahoma City, and that's a very significant experience for kids to really feel the presence of Christ with the world, because people are represented from all over, and so that can be a powerful experience. We also have General Convention, which, as many of you know, happens once every 3 years also, and that will happen this coming summer in Austin, Texas. And there is always an official youth presence at General Convention, and also something new that's happening this year is a Young Adult Festival that will occur simultaneously, and that is for 18 through 30-year-olds also. So that's going to be a really interesting experience for those who've graduated high school. And then finally, sort of outside our diocese, we're trying harder, and part of my personal goal for the near future is to partner more with university, college chaplains, clergy, and churches of our young adults. That is something that we seem to have a void in, is that we do a pretty good job of ministering well and involving our youth up until high school, and then when they graduate high school, what happens? Yeah, we hope that they get plugged in somewhere. But so I really want to work with more chaplains and clergy to ensure that wherever our young people are after high school, that they're connected, that they're part of the church, that they're growing spiritually, and they have a way to minister to others as well. So these are our current diocesan events and some future ones. The future ones are marked by an asterisk. I'll start and just talk about each one briefly. I'll start with Youth Explosion Saturday. That occurs in January on the 20th, and that's going to take place at St. Stephen's Episcopal School in Bradenton with Christ Church. And that's going to be a fun day for all youth, all families to come in sort of a festival, carnival style event where we'll have live music the entire day by different bands. In fact, we're probably going to have a battle of the bands competition going on, and there will be tables and booths set up all around with different charities represented, prayer teams, different people doing different things, games all around the area. And also we'll have great food with food trucks, and we'll celebrate the Eucharist at the end of the day. So that's going to be a really fun event coming up soon in January, and you all are invited to participate in that at St. Stephen's School. New Beginnings and Happening. Raise your hand if you are familiar with these programs. New Beginnings and Happening. Yeah, these have been around for a long time in the diocese and in the Episcopal Church. And these are really formative experiences for young people. They have a set curriculum, and New Beginnings is for middle school age youth groups. We encourage the actual youth group to go together with the youth leaders, and they have a significant spiritual and connective experience, we hope, and they take that back to the church and build upon that experience in the church. Happening is for all high school students, and that again is the primary objective is to really help them grow closer to Jesus Christ with those personal relationships. Happening is often a very important experience for kids, especially in those high school years, and many high school students actually will say happening is the thing that caused them to do XYZ, if XYZ is a good thing. Happening is a thing that really draws people closer to each other in a community, in the diocese. It's great because they really start establishing closer friendships with other people in other churches. So it sort of opens their eyes, opens their perspective to a larger Christian community. And from Happening, a lot of young people start getting involved in maybe working at summer camp and even go into careers in ministry. So Happening can really be a powerful experience for high school students. A new, fresh idea that we have that we'll implement, if not this year, next year, Football and Faith. And this is going to be a day event at Day Spring. where we bring in some rowdies, professional soccer players. We have a tournament, we hear talks, we share with each other, we eat good food. Like always, good events involve good food, right? And so that's coming up soon, we hope, and we hope that'll be a really fun and a meaningful experience for everybody of all ages. Senior High Baccalaureate. This is another new idea that some churches are already doing, a couple in the diocese that I know of. And this is important. A lot of us have done baccalaureate when we graduated high school. But we're trying to do this diocesan-wide to ensure that, number one, we celebrate the accomplishments of our senior high students graduating, but also to formally connect them with live people there that that are chaplains, that are clergy or youth leaders, wherever they're going next. So there will be work involved before this baccalaureate to make sure that we have those people there represented so we can start building those partnerships before they actually leave for college or wherever they go next. Day Spring Summer Camp. This is a great ministry. It's so much fun. And yes, it is exhausting when you move straight from DC area down and get involved the very next day, but it's so worth it because it's just a fun spiritual experience. Day Spring offers great facilities. Raise your hand if you've been over to see the new program center and pool. Yeah, it's fantastic. It's great. So great facilities, a great ropes course, waterfront activities, just an all-around good camp. And clergy and youth leaders from the diocese are coming in each session and leading great chaplains programs to offer that spiritual component that's so important. Because in everything we want to do, we want to make sure, number one, it's a meaningful experience for kids. College pilgrimage is another goal of ours. This is another new idea. And this will happen starting at the end of the summer, next summer. And this will be for graduating seniors as well as college-age students, young people. And we're not sure where we're going to go yet, but we know it's going to be a faith journey of about 7 to 10 days where we go intentionally learn how to pray better, learn what it means to draw closer to Christ, to live in community with each other and support each other. So that's going to be a real special, hopefully, tradition for our future. And then finally, the Acolyte Festival. Does anybody remember what happened to the Acolyte Festival this year? Irma happened, yeah. Yeah. So that was unfortunate, but we're going to have a great one next fall. And that's held at the cathedral. That's a day-long event to celebrate worshiping together in formal roles as acolytes in our worship, which includes a variety of roles. So I hope you'll look forward to being involved in that next fall. I wanted to mention something very important, which are scholarships. Quite a large percentage, I'd say almost a third of our summer campers went to Day Spring this past summer on a partial or full scholarship. And a lot of people don't realize that, but it's a very strong and important ministry for people in our diocese and people in the area. I want to encourage everybody to prayerfully consider donating toward any youth event, but especially Day Spring Summer Camp. We're trying hard to attract a wider audience of young people to Day Spring, including kids from a lot of targeted public schools, especially ones in St. Pete and Tampa that we already have relationships with, but also other public schools, maybe some in this area as well. And we want them to come to Day Spring and have a great experience, fun, meaningful, spiritual experience there. So that's important, and I really hope that you'll continue that in prayer to think about donating toward Day Spring or new beginnings or happening in the diocese. So I'd like to spend a minute or two and talk specifically about St. Boniface and St. Margaret's youth ministry. Now, maybe one of the beginning steps and the hardest steps of youth ministry in a parish is formulating a team of youth leaders. Raise your hand if you've ever been asked to be a leader for youth in any capacity. Think about how you felt. Were you scared? Were you intimidated? Were you nervous? Were you excited? What it means to be a youth leader is actually a lot of different things. And I want to encourage you to sort of open your minds to the many roles, the various roles that a youth leader team can have. So after a church develops a clear vision of what they want youth ministry to look like in their parish, it's important to form that team. The team can include people who, quote, are in the trenches on Sundays or Wednesdays with the kids. That's great. There always need to be at least a couple of people who are with the teams for those regular youth group meetings. But also, great roles such as online ministry leaders are so important. There's such potential for online ministry right now. We all know how connected young people are to technology, to the web, to the internet. So consider all the applications that can make a difference. All the group chats, all of the great websites, all the online literature, as well as making sure that social media is strong. So that's a really great ministry in itself. School event supporters, leaders. These are people who go to games, who go to concerts, to ceremonies, people who are present to support whatever's going on with young people. Everybody knows it's great when parents show up for games, and everybody knows it's hard sometimes for parents and families to show up. So let's make sure other people in the church are also present at those events. Cooking and baking ministry. This is something I love personally. And I find this, yes, I do love food, but this is a great ministry. And this is something that there are always people in the parish who are great cooks and bakers. This is something that people can do to offer classes with kids, small group settings where they cook or bake together and they pray together and they think about, hey, what can we do with this food? So it turns into outreach ministry. So consider that as a role for people on a team. Community outreach. I know St. Boniface and St. Margaret's partners with some great local charities. So let's be intentional about making sure our young people are plugged in and connected to those outreach ministries as well. They are the church of today, young people. They are also the church of tomorrow. So let's make sure that we always consider them as today's church. And there are some smart, savvy, responsible young people who can minister just as well as any smart, savvy adult. And so always consider them being plugged in to your community outreach partnerships. And then finally, this, I have to confess, is probably my favorite role for a person on a youth ministry team. Somebody who is intentional about making sure the youth are praying for the various needs of the congregation. There are many ways this can happen. I think many of us consider the traditional prayer chain or prayer list, which is fantastic. So let's make sure that our young people are intentionally praying for the needs of our parish. Then secondly, diocesan programming is very important for your young people. Because what it does is it offers them a time to get away, to connect with other young people, to build their community outside of the parish, and learn skills, grow closer to Christ. And then they come back to the church. And we want them to be more involved, motivated, excited to do things more in the church. And this is cyclical. So they go to an event, we hope that they're renewed, that they're learning how to be better leaders, and they come back to the church, and this happens year-round. So before I close, I wanted to tell you real quickly about these bracelets. And after the service, I'll be out at a table with information about our 2018 calendar of events and new beginnings and happening, as well as I would like for you all to come get a bracelet. And these are bracelets that we gave out to campers last summer at Dayspring. And they're symbols of two things. Firstly, they're symbols because they're circular and they symbolize the never-ending love and the never-ending grace of God. And then secondly, they're symbols of our circular community, that we're all connected by Christ. So please come get a bracelet after the service, and always consider that and remember what they mean. So finally, I'd like you all to pray with me in unison. This is a prayer from the prayer book for young people. But before we pray, I want to thank you again. And I really am excited to work with you all in the future. I want to come back with my family, and I want to come back and worship with you more and spend time with you and hopefully strengthen youth ministry here at St. Boniface and in the Diocese. So thank you very much, and let us pray. In unison. God,
Our Father, you see your children growing up